It's nearly 200 metres taller than One World Trade Center, more than twice the height of the Shard, and a whole 46 metres closer to the skies above than Merdeka 118.
And having been on top of Merdeka 118 myself,
oh my god,
I can confirm that the Burj Azizi is going to be massive.
At a staggering 725 metres tall, by 2028 it'll be the second tallest building on the planet. Or will it? Around 2,000 kilometres away from the Burj Azizi, Jeddah Tower is once again on the rise.
Its estimated completion date is also 2028. If it gets there, it'll become the new tallest building in the world. The Burj Khalifa will drop down to second place, and the Burj Azizi, well, that'll be third.
It's officially a race to the top, and the huge question is, who's going to win? This is Sheikh Zayed Road, the spine of Dubai. Chances are you'll have seen it before because it's home to the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. As you squint to make out the top of the giant skyscrapers that line this corridor, you might start to wonder if you're in New York or Hong Kong, and that's no coincidence. You see, New York, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, they're all regions packed with skyscrapers. They're compact concrete jungles born out of a drive to be best in class, to develop better and faster than anyone else, and crucially, they're limited on space. Hop back over to Dubai, and if you were to focus your attention purely on Sheikh Zayed Road, you'd think this city is facing a similar problem. But you'd be wrong. The scarcity of space here isn't the natural byproduct of centuries of construction. It's intentional.
You see, zoom out from this road and you'll realise that this city isn't actually short on land at all. In fact, it's got loads of land all around it. But to create its own financial district that rivaled the biggest and best around the world, it needed a condensed vertical urban core, a kind of global city image to help it showcase ambition.
It all started with the creation of Sheikh Zayed Road itself, a key access route that really enabled the area to transform. Now, there are three things that make this road appealing to developers: status, financial opportunity, and pro-super tall zoning laws. Pop all of those ingredients into a tin, bake at 180, and you get giants like the Burj Khalifa. But contrary to popular belief, Dubai's zoning laws are far from a construction free-for-all. Authorities reserved a level of influence at every stage.
Historically, plots on Sheikh Zayed Road were offered on a leasehold basis, generally on a term of about 99 years. It was a way for the government to control development in key areas, but it was more than just a little bit limiting. On top of that, land slots were almost exclusively owned by internal investors and developers.
That's very different to Manhattan, for example, where skyscrapers are created by people from all over the world. And because its development market is opened up to competition on the world stage, it's much more impressive when you manage to get your skyscraper over the line. With that in mind, at Dubai's economic spine, everything is changing. As of January 2025, 128 plots along Sheikh Zayed Road were opened up for freehold conversion.
And I know we're getting into the subtleties of land ownership now, but I honestly can't tell you how big a deal that is going to be for Dubai. For the first time, investors and developers are going to actually own the building and the plot that building sits on. The area has been opened up to foreign property investment like never before, and it's created a buzz around the world. Reports suggest that both property demand and prices have surged. It all means more eyes on Sheikh Zayed Road and, of course, more opportunities for massive skyscrapers.
Talking of massive skyscrapers, let's get to the unlikely underdog of this piece, the Burj Azizi. The skyscraper that Azizi Developments is hoping will become the second tallest building of all time. It's the epitome of what Dubai is striving to achieve here. A giant, slim glass tower that's the envy of cities everywhere. It's being built to very tall, slim dimensions to maximise space along this fast-developing corridor. Now, I already told you how tall this thing is going to be, 725 metres, but I'm aware that I've not really told you what's going to be inside. And predictably, it looks spectacular.
The best part being, if you ask me, my personal penthouse. This is where I plan to record videos hundreds of metres above the ground, and then on my lunch break, take the lift to the gym or make myself dizzy by looking down to street level. I'll obviously need a bathroom. Let's add in a couple of bathrooms. I could even treat myself to a powder room, which is honestly more of a treat for you guys because it's my face you see on screen. And this might sound like a joke, but I'm taking it seriously. So I needed some serious software to help me plan things out, which is why I turned to Rayon Design. It's a next-generation CAD platform that's perfect for architects and designers working on everything from a family home to, I don't know, a 725-metre skyscraper. If, like me, you're looking to draw the blueprint of a penthouse for a client, in this case my client is me, you can do so with ease by importing industry-standard files or by creating your own design from scratch. There's even a search function home to more than 50,000 pre-made CAD blocks, so you can find whatever you're looking for. And if somehow you think of something that's not already in the stacked out CAD library, for example your gold YouTube play button, Rayon Design's AI feature can vectorize anything you need. So if you want to transform the way you work and take your design process to the next level, scan the QR code on screen or click the link below to try Rayon Design for free today. But for now, all that talk about penthouses has probably got you guys pretty curious about what's actually inside the Burj Azizi.
The main attraction at the Burj Azizi, aside from the heights, is this stunning 7-star hotel. While 7 stars isn't an officially recognised hotel grading, it's how developers show this is more than just your average 5-star resort. The hotel will be inspired by 7 cultural themes: Arabic, Chinese, Persian, Indian, Turkish, French, and Russian. Although sadly, it seems there's no space for the United Kingdom. There'll be culturally styled restaurants for each theme, a luxury ballroom, and a beach club. The tower features 20 floors of apartments, serviced by everything you could ever want, including a cinema and a supermarket. Add in an ultra-luxury mall, and honestly, there's no need to ever really leave this tower. The fancy apartments are going to be topped by premium penthouses, which will range from 1 to 5 bedrooms, just in case you and the family were planning on moving in.
And I've not even told you about all the world records yet, okay? The developers of the Burj Azizi claim that it's going to house the highest observation deck, the highest hotel lobby, the highest nightclub, the highest restaurant, the highest rock climbing wall, and the highest hotel room. And that ain't even the full list.
It's capped off with what's probably the world's highest museum, showcasing the building's journey and evolution. And that story hasn't exactly been run-of-the-mill. In fact, before this site became known as the home of the Burj Azizi, it went by a very different name: Entisar Tower. That's the skyscraper originally being built on this plot by Meydan Group back in 2016. It was a not insignificant 570 metres tall, but the project ran into money problems. A stop work order was issued, and in 2018, Azizi Developments stepped in to buy the land. Work officially restarted in 2025 with a mission statement geared towards becoming the second tallest tower in the world.
Now, Entisar Tower wasn't particularly far along in its construction journey, but they had built the foundations, which meant that anything Azizi Developments wanted to do had to sit within the specifications of what had been constructed on the site, which sounds like a bit of a nightmare, but actually worked out in the company's favour.
The major difference here is the footprint. The Burj Khalifa was built in ample space, allowing for a wide base to offer stability as the structure rose higher than any had ever done before it. The Burj Azizi is squished between 2 buildings on the side of a road.
And so the alternative is to create really deep foundations that stabilise the tower in the ground. It's a bit like jamming a spade into wet sand. The further down you push it, the less it's going to wobble at the top.
Now, beyond that below ground work, there's another major challenge with a skyscraper of these dimensions.
It's one of the slimmest buildings on the planet, not far off New York's 432 Park Avenue. Now, this is a model of 432 Park Avenue, not the actual skyscraper, in case you were confused. But I hold it up to prove the point that this thing stretches a very long way into the sky, despite having a really incredibly small footprint. The difference between 432 Park and the Burj Azizi is that the Burj is going to extend 300 meters taller.
And if 432 Park Avenue faces problems caused by the wind, and it does, you can bet that this thing is going to have challenges of its own. What's curious is that the Burj Azizi won't have a tuned mass damper. That's a massive pendulum that controls building sway, normally positioned at the top of a structure. Much like the Burj Khalifa, it's been decided that a TMD is too heavy at these ridiculous heights.
Now I'm going to give you a very quick 101 on how wind affects giant skyscrapers. Basically, when air is travelling forwards and it encounters a building, its path gets interrupted and it has one of three choices. It can either go up, down, or around the building. And all three of those are problematic.
If it heads back down to Earth, it causes a downdraft. The wind accelerates as it drops down the face of the skyscraper, forcing powerful gusts into the streets below. And the taller a building is, the more distance it has to gain speed as it descends. As the wind that travels up the tower races to the top, it can meet air flowing over the peak, combining to create turbulent patterns. And finally, if it goes around the side of the building with sharp edges or corners, that accelerates wind flow, causing vortex shedding, where air swirls in a variety of directions around the structure. Any of the above can cause a building to shake, sway, and experience some pretty ear-piercing noise pollution. It's exactly what you don't want if you paid an arm and a leg to live in this giant glass status symbol.
To combat nature, a variety of wind tests are carried out on a scale model of the building to see how it interacts with its environment. And then, using the data gathered from those tests, the building's form is fine-tuned to help it resist lateral forces. That is, forces coming at it sideways, i.e. the wind.
The pressure is highest in the middle of the facade, with the edges of the tower experiencing lower pressure. And so the tower features notched corners and these massive setbacks that look a bit like giant steps. The idea is that they'll mitigate any problems as a kind of aerodynamic modification. Setbacks act like mini attached side structures. They'll interrupt the wind, limiting the momentum it builds up as it travels up and down the facade. High-performance glass and cladding then helps to reduce heat gain in this desert city, and thermal sensors embedded into the concrete track temperature.
The Burj Azizi's core is going to house 44 elevators and its services. As it climbs, it's going to be supported by an outrigger system, basically like arms that help connect it to the outer structure and give it more stiffness.
So a shortage of space is one hurdle. In this incredibly cozy worksite, tower cranes feature anti-collision systems to safely move concrete and steel up into place for the core. But let's not forget the main challenge they face here: time. This is destined to be the second tallest building in the world, but 1,700 kilometers away, construction is ploughing on at the Jeddah Tower. In fact, as of May 2026, the tower is standing at 101 floors. Construction began in 2013, but by 2018 it had ground to a halt, with the tower standing at around 250 metres, staggeringly only a quarter of the way finished. Works remained pretty stagnant until January 2025, when news broke that one of the most daring engineering projects in history was back under construction. Flash forward just over a year, and the tower now dominates Jeddah's skyline at a reported 400 metres in height. What's crazy is that that's not even halfway to completion, and it would already be the tallest building in the UK, Canada, Australia, and the whole of South America. And to be honest, a lot of other countries around the world too.
Jeddah Tower is due to complete in 2028, which means that in just 2 years' time, we could be looking up at a building that stands more than a kilometre above the surface of the Earth.
What that means for the Burj Azizi's legacy is yet to be decided. Although initially scheduled for a 2028 opening, some reports this year claim that could now be 2029. It might become the second tallest building in the world, cementing its place in the history books. Or it might end up being remembered as a building that strived for second and landed third, although in the grand scheme of things that would still be a pretty incredible accomplishment. As things are looking, this could end up being the second tallest building in the world for a matter of months, weeks, or maybe even just a few days. It's difficult to say. Building a project of this scale is rarely a linear process, and both of these great towers have faced setbacks in the past. What the Burj Azizi does tell us is that the construction industry is well and truly into the next phase of its evolution. When the Chrysler building opened more than a century ago, it was an enormous structure that dominated the skyline. Now, it's more than 2 times smaller than the Burj Azizi.
And it makes me wonder, when people in 100 years' time look back at this moment, what are they going to think? Are we still going to be wrestling with the difference between big skyscrapers that are a really great use of space, that maximize density in our urban areas, versus others that are just built really tall for the sake of it or to create a status symbol? And is this period of time, the time we're living through right now, going to be seen as a nostalgic period where we were struggling to break through the 1 kilometer mark? Or is this it? Is this the moment where the tallest buildings on Earth peaked? This video was sponsored by Rayon Design. If you're a professional designer or architect, make sure you check out Rayon Design for free at the link below. It massively helps us out when you guys take the time to go and check out our video sponsors, so we would really appreciate it. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, make sure you're subscribed to the B1M.